Hi there beautiful people, welcome back to another video and welcome to my channel if you're new. Hi, my name is Femke and in today's video I will be sharing my new hand and nail care routine of 2023. It is the second half of 2023 already and I felt like it has been a hot minute since I actually shared how I do like my 3 weekly towards monthly hand and nail care routine. So first of all, I have already done 4 fingers of my left hand, so I'm going to focus on showing you how I do my hand and nail care routine, mostly on my thumbnail. So yeah, I'm just showing you the files that I will be using. I will be using some 96% rubbing alcohol as well as some lint-free wipes. Of course, you can use the 70% rubbing alcohol as well, and just some cotton rounds if you have those laying around. So because I do use a gel polish base and top coat like overlay on top of my own natural nails, I'll be showing you real quick what I'll be using. Of course, I have already shared my ins and outs, like tips and tricks, in my previous video, in which I actually explained and showed you how I fix a tear in your natural nails, no matter the length. So if you're into that, definitely check it out. As you can see here, I have some new growth. My gel polish like overlay has grown out quite a bit, so I am going to get rid of most of the bulk of the old gel, as well as prepping the nail, filing, everything pretty much. So yeah, you can see right here I already done the other 4 nails, and on the middle finger I have that tear in the nail tip, which has grown out a lot because it was actually on the smile line to start with a couple of months ago. So once again, if you want to know how to fix a tear in your nail or even a more severe nail break, definitely check out my previous video because it's really easy to do. And you don't need to use gel polishes for that. Even though I do so in my video, I'm also explaining there that you can use a really good sturdy top coat and like base coat of regular polish as well. So first of all, I'm going to get rid of most of the bulk of the old gel polish overlay. As I mentioned, I only use a soak of like gel polish base, and I use a sturdy like hard gel polish top coat. Of course, it's totally up to you if you want to do it like this as well, but for me it just works wonders. I have quite strong natural nails myself, so I don't need like a builder gel or acrylics or dip powders or anything like that. Those aren't my favorites to work with anyway, because I do like a more natural look of my nails. Since these are my natural nails, I don't really go for a false nail effect or anything, even though these are my natural nails, you know. I just like to keep it real, like realistic, natural, and so on. So yeah, because I do have a very manual daytime job, my nails can use a little bit of extra strength, and that is pretty much what a little layer of gel polish base and top coat does for me. Of course, if a gel isn't your thing, or gel polishes, builder gel, whatsoever, just be my guest, go ahead and use regular nail polishes. I actually used to do that for years, decades even. Yes, I am that old. But yeah, in one of my first hand and nail care routines, I actually shared how I did my hand and nail care routine with regular polishes only. So if you're curious about that, I will like leave it in the end screen so you can actually check it out, or even like leave the entire hand and nail care playlist. So yeah, if you want to see more and even my like progress or changes throughout the years that I've been doing nail videos, definitely check that out. And yeah, in the meantime, I'm just removing a lot of the gel polish, actually going in with a little bit of a finer, like gritty kind of file. This is the 150. I actually do touch my natural nail plate with this one. With the previous one that I used to really get rid of the bulk of the old gel, the 100, I would not necessarily like touch the natural nail with that, because that can be a little bit too much and you can really damage the nail. Of Of course, you do get some scratches into the natural nail plate, which is totally fine because the gel polish must have something to really grab onto and grip onto for it to stay put for at least like 3 to 4 weeks, especially if you're like me and you're quite heavy duty on your nails. Even though I have strong natural nails myself already, the gel still needs something to like hold on to, if you know what I mean. After getting rid of most of the bulk, filing a little extra, shaping, and also using a little buffer block, which is like the final touch on the filing process, you want to go in with one of your lint-free wipes and a little bit of rubbing alcohol. You can use acetone or a gel polish cleaner or gel cleaner or anything like that. It really is up to you what your personal preference is. I just really prefer using my 96% alcohol, even though it is a high percentage and it is quite drying. It is not as harsh on my skin as, for example, acetone would be. But yeah, for cuticle work, I actually barely have any cuticle to push back, to be honest. I also never, and I repeat, I never cut my cuticles because it is not necessary. It can be really damaging, very painful. It can actually cause like inflammation, stuff like that. So I don't do that. But after that, make sure your nails are completely dust, oil free and so on, and go in with your primer. This is actually a dehydrating non-acid like primer or base prep, if you want to call it like that. This one is by PJR that I'm using. After letting that dry for about 30 seconds, you can go in with your soak off base coat. I'm just using one by Madame Glam because I still had that one, and I tend to use up like older products first, so that is actually why there is a sticker on this bottle, because I had 2 bottles and one was the old one, so it was already kind of like goopy and stuff. But to keep them separately, because the bottles were exactly the same, I just put a little sticker on this one, which says new in Dutch. So yeah, that's just something I want to put out there. I actually don't work with them anymore. That's like a whole long story. I've had some questions on that as well, because I actually did work with them for a really long time. But yeah, communication was pretty sucky and they pretty much don't want to work with me anymore, with like no communication whatsoever. I've reached out to them a couple of times and yeah, it was just really not professional, getting like 0 response, even though we have been working together for like 2-3 years or something like that. Well, yeah, that's a whole other story. I probably won't get into anymore, but yeah, I do tend to use up the products that I have before starting a new one, so that is pretty much what I'm doing right here. So you want to apply your base and cure that for 30 seconds. Make sure there are no bubbles in your like base coat, and I tend to cap off the edges as well as the side walls of my nails too with that. Then I'm going in with the Shine Top Coat by PJR once again. The 2 brands that I'm using actually do work together pretty well, but if you're like, I don't want to use separate brands, definitely just use one brand. It works perfectly fine as well. Just keep in mind that you don't have any bubbles in your final like work, because you don't want to be filing after applying your top coat and so on. And make sure to cap in the edges as well for the most flush end result, and also to prevent any lifting, because that is something that can happen as well if you forget to really cap in those edges. Water might get underneath that and it will be a whole like big lifting story, if you know what I mean. So yeah, after that is fully cured, PJR cures within a minute in LED, by the way. You want to take off the sticky layer, because this one does have a sticky layer. Of course, there are top coats which don't have like a sticky layer. Those are usually called a no wipe top coat. But if you do have a sticky layer like mine does, you want to grab your 96% alcohol or any kind of rubbing alcohol and a lint-free wipe or cotton round and remove that stickiness. Then I'm just going to do some final shaping with the thinnest little file that I have. It's really handy, and of course remove the dust afterwards as well. You can just remove it with like some rubbing alcohol too, but you know, I'm just going to wash my hands afterwards anyway, so yeah, it's totally up to you if you want to use any additional alcohol. So as I mentioned, I am going to scrub and like wash my hands before going in with cuticle oils as well as like a hand balm. So I'm just using some like minis I've gotten from my mom actually. So we have a really nice like thick kind of scrub, but the particles in there were quite nice and finely milled, so it isn't too rough on the hands. And I tend to mix that up with a little bit of like a hand wash or a hand soap. I just got this set, so that's pretty nice. After that, like scrubbing and washing your hands, of course, rinsing it off thoroughly as well. You want to go in with a hand balm or just any creamy product that you like. You can use a ton of different ones. It's pretty much up to you and what you prefer. And I tend to rub it in really nicely around the cuticle area as well, but mostly focusing on the entire hands, to be honest. And that's just something that I love to do. As I mentioned, when I do like a very like thorough, in-depth hand and nail care routine like this, I tend to do it like every 3 weeks, every month, something like that. When I really have to redo the gel polish overlay on my nails, that is pretty much when I do this. But of course, you can always use cuticle oil, hand balms and stuff like that on a daily basis if you have any time for it, to be honest. I have to say I don't really have a lot of spare time, and I tend to forget it a lot too. So yeah, I really take my time whenever I really do like this kind of in-depth hand and nail care routine again. So that is why I tend to use a little bit more, because I simply tend to forget to use it daily. But yeah, you just really want to rub in the cuticle oil, which is one by Orly, by the way. Once again, you can use whatever you prefer, and just really rub it into the cuticle areas, but also underneath the nails. Since these are my natural nails, I really love to apply a little bit of oil underneath as well. But yeah, this was pretty much my entire new hand and nail care routine video, like the 2023 update. Let me know what you do to take care of your hands and nails and so on. If you have any questions, let me know in the comment section down below. And as usual, thank you guys so much for watching. I love you so much, and I hope to see you next time.